Hi, this is Justin Coletti. You may know me from Sonic Scoop, but today I am with Sonarworks, helping them show off what's new in the latest iteration of their software, their solution for room correction, speaker correction, and headphone correction. It is called SoundID Reference. The last iteration of this one was Sonarworks Reference 4, which I happily used with the included calibration microphone, and I even used it to correct my headphones as well. But now Sonarworks Reference 4, there's no Reference 5, it is now SoundID Reference. And they are starting out with a whole bunch of new features that were not there in the past version. And I want to get into exactly what these new features are. Before I do, for those of you who may not have used Sonarworks or the reference software in the past, I just want to give you the quick bird's eye view. It's for correcting your room, your speakers, your headphones. And the whole idea is, you've probably experienced this, if you've mixed in an untreated room or through headphones and thought you got to a pretty good place and then went out and checked your mix in a car, at your friend's house, at the club, and found out that it sounded awful and nothing like it did in your studio, you've got a translation problem. And almost all of us have translation problems of some degree or another, even those of us who are in rooms that do have treatment up. You can still improve it by correcting for the idiosyncrasies in your room, your speakers, and your headphones, so you have mixes that translate much, much better. Let's dive in under the hood of the latest version of this software, SoundID Reference, and let's see what's going on under the hood here. There's a lot of cool new features, but one of the most interesting ones I'm going to say is this custom target option and this translation check option that have been added. I'll get into what those are about in just a second. But I have a speaker profile loaded up here. What we're seeing right now on the screen is what the frequency response of this particular set of speakers and room should sound like after the SoundID reference correction has been applied. For the before, I'm going to click over here, and this is what the before curve of this room looked like and sounded like before treatment. And then I can add on this after curve to show you where it's ending up. But one of the most requested features for a new version of the reference software was this whole custom target idea. And there's a few things you can do here. You can change the target from totally flat to now using a parametric equalizer to go ahead and change the target from totally flat to something else. So you could add bass, subtract bass, and this is fully parametric. You can change these things between shelves, bells, all of that stuff. But an even more ingenious and I think practical addition in the custom target feature are these here that let you select the frequency range that the SoundID reference is being applied to. So you can exclude parts of the frequency range from correction. And this is something I think is going to be really practical for a lot of people, because say you've already learned your room and speaker, you have a good sense for how things are translating in the high end, but you know you need the reference system to help you make correction to the low end of your speakers. You don't have to completely relearn them, but you want to get the low end into whack. Well, there's a thing that you can do here by, say, excluding the high frequencies. So now the Sonarworks reference software is just working on, say, frequencies below 200 hertz or frequencies below 100 hertz. So SoundID reference is correcting all that low stuff and leaving everything else untouched. So you can use these sliders to change the range of the calibration, exclude lows, exclude highs, exclude both, just target in exactly where you want the correction to work. Or you can go in with that new EQ and make your own new custom targets. So that's a pretty cool feature here. You can save in a whole bunch of presets. Right now, I'm going to delete this one that I just made because I want to show you the next feature that I think is super cool. This is the translation check feature. Now, the translation check feature is super cool because you can now scroll through different environments, different speaker and headphone systems to hear what your mixes would sound like on those systems. So we've got 3 different car profiles that we can listen to. We can go over to a laptop, hear what this thing would sound like on a 13-inch MacBook Air, even hear this coming through a smartphone to hear it with the filters applied where you're going to have no low end and minimal high highs. So you can hear what your record is going to sound like through a smartphone. They also are emulating some classic studio speakers like the Oratone Mix Cubes, which don't have a ton of low end and have some limited high frequency response, and the legendary NS10s, which have the big mid-range bump and all that stuff. So we can look at just the curves of these by turning off our before, and this is the NS10 profile. Here's that Mix Cube profile. There's even popular headphones on here, the average of a whole array of headphones. Some very popular headphones that have noise canceling built in. You can hear them through a variety of in-ear headphones that are popular, like the AirPods. So you can hear what your mix would sound like in any of these environments with the click of just a couple of buttons. In addition to these two big features, there's also been updates to the GUI here. So you can actually get much better visual feedback than in the past. Now has a responsive design where you can drag in and drag out and have the window respond exactly the way you'd expect it to. You can also go into a full screen mode, which is super handy. And you can also now zoom in and out on the GUI, which is super cool. There's also this compact mode. You can click right here, which will give you just the frequency response graph. This is great for people who don't have multiple sets of outputs to manage over here on the left. So you can just collapse that down, have an even more clean and seamless experience. Last couple of additional features here. There are some new drivers for Windows users where now you can get close to zero latency on an even greater range of Windows systems with these new drivers. There's also a custom dark mode you can turn on, and there's this new left-right speaker swap function. You just hit this button here and all of a sudden your left speaker and your right speaker are switched and you can hear your mixes in a new way. This is actually a trick that a lot of great mix engineers have used in the past because all of us really have slightly uneven hearing in our ears, and swapping the speakers back and forth give you a new perspective on the mix, and all of a sudden you can sometimes hear imbalances that you didn't even know were there. So that's another cool feature added here. Another little additional thing that I should note, they've totally revamped the organization of their headphone models in here. You're going to be able to really quickly and easily find whatever headphones you work on. I've saved the presets for a couple ones that I use with some frequency, my Sennheisers and my Blues, but you can go in here and just add a new headphone profile super quickly. You can search them by brand, pretty much every one of the models you'd ever be looking for in here, or you can just type them right in, find your own favorite model really quickly. So this has been totally revamped. Where there are additional features on the headphones, those features have been included here. So there'll be some headphones where you can turn on or off noise canceling or a built-in preamp, and all of that is represented under the hood here. One last little cool item here is that now for SoundID Reference, Sonarworks have switched over to a login-based authorization where you don't have to do all of the back and forth of remembering your license key and putting in challenge code and all this stuff. You just log in right through the app, you're connected to your account in the cloud, and that's how you authorize the plugin from here on out. So you can go from one room to another, from one system to another, and easily log into your account and authorize in whatever environment you're in. Well, I hope that's been a useful look at the new set of features that are here under the hood of SoundID Reference, the latest iteration of the solution from Sonarworks. You've got those custom targets, one of the most requested features. I love the idea of being able to only correct a certain portion of the frequency range if you only want to apply the correction, say, to just the low end, that kind of thing. But I know another thing people are going to be really excited about is this translation check, where you can hear your mixes on a variety of systems, from in-ear monitors to smartphones to laptops to car stereos to some of the most popular studio monitors ever made for mixing, the Yamaha NS10s and the Oratone Sound Cubes. So great solution, now more useful than ever. Got a little rebrand going on now called SoundID Reference from Sonarworks. If you haven't tried it out, you absolutely should. You can get the 21-day free trial over at sonarworks.com, where you can try this stuff out on your headphones. You're going to find a whole range of headphones represented in here, where practically all the major models of headphones out there are in here, and you can very quickly find yours and hear how much better it's going to be able to work on your headphones with the correction. Well, I hope this little walkthrough proved useful to you. This has been Justin Coletti of Sonic Scoop, this time with Sonarworks, talking about SoundID Reference. Go check it out for yourself over at sonarworks.com. Thanks for hanging out with me. See you next time.